Well, once we get into the month of October, it means a couple things. It means on all my streaming services, I'm going to get all those Halloween collections up, and I'm going to start diving into those scary movies. That's the first thing. And the second thing, we're going right to Keeneland. Because Keeneland, when I know October is coming up, that means Keeneland's going to be right there. We're going to have a great month leading us right into the Breeders' Cup. And you can get a major discount on the Keeneland package right now at drf.com, shop.drf.com, full meet pass performances. And they also have the betting strategies for every Saturday, in addition to opening day. Opening day, which is Friday, October the 4th. That's the day that my good friend Barry Spears and I are going to talk about right now. Barry, buddy, how you doing, my friend?
Hanging in there. You know what else is in October, right?
What's
It's my
that?
birthday.
Oh my goodness.
I love
Oh,
October.
it's a great month. So I was just did a little preview of some of the Belmont Aqueduct races for Saturday with our buddy Matty DeSantis. And I was telling him, so Friday, you and I are going to talk about on this show right here. Then we're also going to talk about Saturday on a different video that'll be separate. So if you're listening on the podcast, they'll all be on the podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, there'll be individual videos for each day. But on Saturday coming up, we have 16 graded stakes races in North America. Like, it's actually like more than a Breeders' Cup day because they're all over the place. There's actually 18 total stakes races, 4 graded stakes at Belmont and Aqueduct, 5 graded stakes at Keeneland. Santa Anita has 4 graded stakes and 1 non, and then Woodbine has 3 graded stakes and 1 non. So 18 between those 4 tracks, 20 Breeders' Cup win in your in races between Friday through Sunday. So there's a ton going on. But then, like, for me, while I'm kicking back on Saturday, I'm going to be playing Keeneland. I'm going to be playing Belmont and Aqueduct. I'm going to be playing some Woodbine. I'm going to be playing some Santa Anita. I've got a USC Minnesota football game.
Man.
I've got the Dodgers game 1 of their playoff round. Whoever they play, it'll be game 1 on Saturday night, 8:38. And I've also got WWE Bad Blood pay-per-view. I'm just going to be loaded on Saturday. I'm kicking back. It's just going to be
overload.
Top to bottom, early in the morning. The racing's going to start all the way till late in the evening with the baseball, with the college football, with the WWE stuff. So I need to make some money on Friday so I can really be sitting there having a drink or two, ordering some nice food. I'm going to have to order delivery 3 times on Saturday.
DoorDash is your friend.
That's good. Uber Eats, DoorDash, I'm going to hit them all. Postmates, I'm going to get each one of them.
Spread it around.
So let's start, my friend. Man, for us horse players too, great Saturday. And Keeneland's always just a ton of fun because Keeneland's one of those tracks where it feels like you can always find some prices. It's, I think right up there, held in such high regard with Saratoga, Keeneland, Del Mar, Santa Anita probably in that conversation too. Gulfstream Park Championship meet right now. Those are sort of, your top tier meets that you're getting. Kentucky Downs has having an awesome one. They're picking up their rep right now. But let's get to Keeneland in the pick 5 on Friday. We'll look at races 6 through 10. It'll start with a first level allowance race, 7 furlongs. The 2-horse Montelsino was an impressive debut winner for Cherie DeVoe, who has just become such a really, really good trainer and has so many quality horses. This one won first time out of the box, going 7 furlongs, defeated a horse named Hurricane Nelson, who came back to win. The one, Air of Defiance, kind of an interesting horse too. Lost in his career debut last year on a muddy track to Fierceness, and then came back in his second start, crushed a field at Keeneland, earned an 88 Beyer speed figure. That was still as a 2-year-old, but he's been off for almost a full year. So, you scratch your head a little bit at what you can expect from him. Will you get his absolute best? But he's definitely got some quality. And then to the outside, the 9 also was very impressive and has been in a couple starts. And he's a horse who's not done a whole lot wrong. He's just had to deal with sloppy tracks in 3 of his 6 starts. So there's probably been 1 or 2 that he just didn't love the going. Even if he likes an off track, sometimes they're different. You get caught behind horses. You're not always just going to enjoy it, getting stuff splashed in your face. So I think he probably has an excuse or 2, but has a pretty nice foundation and body of work. Those 3 all have some quality. They're just kind of the top tier contenders here to start.
Yeah. In races like this, especially with these 3-year-olds, um, I tend to move away from horses that are going to be short prices that have either only won one race, basically a maiden race, and I can't tell you how many times I've seen horses, have their first time out be really, really good, and then second time out they regress just a little bit, or things just don't go as planned, and they just don't win. Um, Not saying that they're not good horses, but it's tough to
You
duplicate that.
don't have the sample size.
Right.
So it's just harder to really get a feel for who these horses are. Did they take advantage of a softer trip? Was it maybe a different track? That's one thing that's really difficult about Keeneland too, right? You get horses coming in from all over. New York, right there in that last race at Churchill or Kentucky or Ellis, then horses from the West Coast. So you really do get horses coming in from all over the place, and it's difficult to get a feel or a gauge sometimes. Not every track plays the same way.
Right, and that's what you got to factor in, and I'm kind of inclined in this spot to be against Montesino
Yeah.
at 9-5. This horse is going to get bet. It's hot barn, hot jockey, and Jose Ortiz have been riding lights out since moving down to Kentucky. It just spells to me what I think is a favorite to bet against. That being said, you have the horse inside of him, Air of Defiance, who I thought was pretty good last year. Obviously got hurt. Something went amiss. He's been on the shelf since last October. But man, he ran really good twice. And
Yeah.
I mean, that Fierceness race was an absolute freak show. And obviously Fierceness came back in the I forget what race it was at Aqueduct in the slop and just did nothing, but then came back in the
It was actually the
Breeders' Cup,
one that was this weekend, the Champagne,
the Champagne.
because he
Right.
won his first one, then didn't
That's
really
correct.
fire in the Champagne, and then you and I liked him in the Juvenile when he came back and
Yep.
fired, and he ran really well
And
that
he
day.
ran huge that day. And honestly, that was probably the best and fastest 2-year-old race of the year.
Yeah.
And Air Defiance was behind Fierceness first time out, but he managed to finish second, and that to me says a lot. Not only that, he came out of that race, shipped to Keeneland, and ran lights out in a maiden race, which he was supposed to do. I think that's enough to merit a real strong contender here. He might not win. I'm not particularly, enthused about the post, but I think this horse is talented enough, and there's enough speed. This horse doesn't need the lead. He can kind of sit off, and same thing with the others I'll mention, like number 3,
Yeah.
Linebacker.
Yeah, he's
I,
super solid. He fits
I,
really well.
he definitely and became a better horse as a 3-year-old. You can see the improvement. He was kind of close, and then after running in the Southwest, getting a layoff, coming back off that, he wins, then runs a pretty good race at Churchill, a tough race with Star Wonder, Attaché.
Look at
There's
his
a couple out
debut,
of that race.
race last year at
Yep.
Keeneland. He
Mystic
finished
Dan.
third behind Mystic Dan, who was your Kentucky Derby winner this year. Other horses in that race, Legalize was very good. He came out to win and then won the Sugar Bowl. He was actually favored in the Swale. Like, he was a legitimate horse at that point. We haven't seen him since. So he had some kind of an issue. Something went wrong. Ethan Energy was a very highly regarded Brad Cox horse at that point. After
Yep.
he won that maiden special weight, he went into the Lecomte. He was only 7-2 with Track Phantom and with Nash in that race. So that was a good race that Linebacker debuted in. And he has a real nice foundation. When you're
He
kind of
certainly
comparing
does.
him to the two inside horses, who, especially Montesino, who only has the one race, and then Air of Defiance, who I actually, like you, I prefer Air of Defiance because I think you'll get a better price. And just, I think he's a little more proven.
Mhm.
But Linebacker has the nice races last year, including a race over this track that was good. And then he actually just faced some tough horses. Like, he faced Legalize again. He was favored against Imperial Gun, but just having a tough spot in races like that where horses have a little more early speed than him. Then he faces Mystic Dan. They put him in the Southwest. He's in too tough. He's off for a while. He shows back up. Boom. He's grown up a little bit. He's improved. He wins. He comes right back with a really nice third, steps up on the Buyer's speed figure scale, and now he'll go third start off the bench. I thought he's like a real must-use pick 5 horse for me.
Yeah, he's definitely, if he's 6-1, that'd be perfect. I don't know if you're going to get that. I'm with you. I think those two actually going to be flip flopped in the wagering,
Yeah.
linebacker and Air Defiance, but we'll see. And then the outside horse, Band for Life, you kind of have to like a little bit,
Yeah. He's got the
because
foundation too.
and he's fast.
Yep.
He doesn't like to win all that much, but this field isn't super tough, and he has speed. He has fast enough races to beat this field, including his last one. He's got two 93 buyers on his resume, but only one win. But he's been keeping really good company. I wouldn't be surprised if this one actually goes off favored.
Yeah. And I think, again, I prefer the way that you mapped it out. I actually had it almost the exact same way, with just not, like, needing to see more from the two who was solid, good effort, good debut, but you earned the big figure, and probably going to get caught up with other pace in here. So yeah, I sort of stacked them the way you did. I thought that the 1, the 3, and the 9 were just a little more interesting than the 2. And I had a tougher time getting to any like
Anybody
really
else?
bigger
Yeah,
long shots in here too.
I tried. I
Me
tried to
too.
get the 7
That
in
was the
there,
one.
but
That's the exact one I was going to mention, because I think you can toss the turf race and you can go light bulb angle with him, because he had been knocking on the door for a while. I just don't know if he's faced horses that are quite this good, that like a couple of the others. But if you're
he's the
looking,
line.
yeah,
He's the line.
if you're looking for the price, it's probably him underneath as a horse who can at least hit the board. So we have a lot of similarities in this 6th race to kick it off as we move to the Grade 2 Phoenix. This one is a 6 furlong sprint. So we'll have 3 straight graded stakes races on opening Friday, races 7, 8, and 9. So just some horses to mention and how this race could possibly set up. Federal Judge is very talented. You can look at his career and see that he just didn't really fire that
Fast.
well in the Woody Steven, and that was a race right before a long layoff. And not even like he ran poorly. He just lost to some good horses that day, and very fast. Came back in his second start off the bench. He won. He took a step forward. You probably expect him to be pushing it right on the lead. The number 4 Nakatomi, Grade 1 winner, and he's kind of perked up. You know, that Vanderbilt was good.
Yeah, he was unreliable for a little while.
And he just feels like he's leveled up a bit. You know, he just feels like his ceiling is now much higher. That Breeders' Cup Sprint last year was very good. And since then, you know, his race in the Pelican wasn't bad. That was sort of a starting point. The Dubai Golden Shaheen wasn't bad. And then he came back and was really good in the Vanderbilt in a race where he ran down Skelly. So he's impressed me.
You know, the thing about Nakatomi, especially now, is you have to think that that July 27th Vanderbilt race was the time to have him.
Yeah.
Because you know he's going to get bet off the board here, and he probably isn't going to get the greatest of trips here, because there's not, you know, it's not as fast as that Skelly race.
No.
I don't think Federal Judge will need to run that fast to win this race early.
No.
And that hurts a horse like Nakatomi. Although, you know, he's the home team. This is his home track.
He's run well, and he's the horse to hold off, and he's been good lately. But you're right. You wanted to get him at 7-2 last time versus, you know,
even money or
right
lower
here
this time. Right.
Yep. So
it's tough to take. I mean, he definitely looks formidable here. He has been unreliable. I mean, he ran a big race in the sprint last year and didn't win against Elite Power. And before that, he was just knocking at the door and really not winning.
He was your beaten favorite in this race last year when he lost to Hoist the Gold. He ran well. He finished second, beaten 3/4 of his length, but he did not win that race.
Right. He just didn't make the jump up. He's got to be considered here a contender, but it's tough to take. You know, if he's going to be less than even money, that's real tough.
Yeah, I think I like the next 2 again in this race, probably like better than him. In the 1 who you were pointing out,
I had the 1 and the 2.
Yeah. I have kind of 1 and 5, just because. So for Comedy Town, I wasn't sure with him. Okay, how good is he? But what I've liked to see is his last 3 races. So the first one, the June 8th race, off track, sloppy track. Okay, I'm wondering, you know, is it the off sloppy track that maybe kind of gets him over the hump? Really was the July 6th race that very much impressed me, because he He sat back a little bit, just like I'd love to see here. And he beat two horses in this race that are pretty good. Like Run Classic is a nice stakes horse who was actually favored in the Commonwealth, which is a sprint like this at Keeneland, going 7 furlongs. And he also in that race was Sibelius, who was the Golden Shaheen winner and who's multiple graded stakes winner. And so, I think at least that was a solid enough race to show me that he's the type, he has the type of running style and could get the type of trip I'd be looking for. Not too far off, gets the jump on Nakatomi, sits behind Federal Judge. I mean, I think Federal Judge could possibly just run away,
just run off and beat this field easily. But I share your sentiment with Comedy Town. You can see this horse's improvement from whatever Safi did. He is getting this horse to rate. Look at I think it was a combination of whatever he's doing in the morning and then switching to Drayden Van Dyke.
Yep.
That's the keys. I mean, this horse ran 2 really good races and non-graded stakes, and deserves a shot here. And I think he has a good chance based on his running style. I mean, he's going to be close up. He's faster than most of these horses. He just needs a good spot and some run at the end. But this is a tough race, and I think the 2 might have a shot as well. Same sort of deal.
Same style.
Kind of the hot horse, same sort of running style as well.
Yep.
Likes
Keeneland,
running lights out lately and for a while. So you kind of want to maybe tread a little lightly because he might be on the verge of falling off form. I mean, he ran a career top last time, so you want to tread carefully and get your price there. But I still think he's formidable in this spot.
Yeah, and I think he should probably be in that 6-ish to 1 range, right around there. The grade 2 Ogden Phoenix, Stole Keenan Ogden Phoenix. This one is always one of the traditional opening day features. Federal Judge, probably the one they'll all have to catch, but interesting rest of the group with Nakatomi, the one to hold off. Comedy Town and Hear Me Song, horses that could possibly get pretty nice trips in here. Looks like Banjo Chris, Swervin, Maniwa towards the outside, kind of up against it. They seem like bigger long shots in here. Let's move on, my friend, to race number 8. This one is the grade 2 Jessamine, going 1 mile and a 16th on the turf course. We have 2-year-old fillies here going long, and this race is
it's a monster.
Yeah, and it's just so many fun
Great
trips to watch.
race.
So many horses that ran well in a race or two. I mean, the 6 is probably one to start with because she was really impressive in that debut race. That was at Kentucky, but she's a horse who had to come from way, way out of it. So, you never know what her real running style is at this point. Certainly one to mention. I don't think the 10 will be 20 to 1. Just this horse is dropping out of a grade 1 last time out, was only beaten a couple lengths in the Natalma. So I was thinking more like 6, 8, which probably fits here because there are going to be a lot of horses in that range. It's a big field spread out, but
I mean, just on the surface, he has the second highest
speed
buyer, last race buyer, or second highest buyer in the whole field.
And you just even like off of jockeys, you have Saez jumping aboard.
Yeah,
who's
like not going to be 20.
one of the. So I would, that's what I was thinking in the 6-ish range, which I think would be fair. This is a horse who showed ability on the dirt in both starts, and then tried the grass last time out. Was in between horses, was behind and had to wait, and then had to angle and was kind of shifting around, and nobody made up ground on the top 3. And this horse was kind of moving, and it was a little bit better too than the race even looks just on paper. So absolutely wanted to mention Italian Soiree, but yeah, there's a lot of horses we can talk about in here, Barry. Who are some of the ones that are on your radar?
Oh, man, this is a doozy of a race. I
Yeah.
mean, my advice to anybody playing this race or playing this pick 5 sequence, just let it fly in race 8 because everybody kind of looks the same. It's just a matter of what your preference is and what angle you like in this race. I swear I could make cases for every single one of these horses.
Honestly,
the one that really caught my eye was Mayday Ready, though.
Yeah.
I really liked this race in that juvenile at Kentucky Downs back in September 8th. I mean, the horse just sat a great trip, and I'm not usually keen on perfect trip winners, but I think there's enough speed in here. There's a lot of horses coming out of 6.5 furlong races that you're going to get some pace to run into. So I think the 6 is definitely a horse you're going to have to really keep in mind because the style fits.
Yep.
And I think he's not going to be as far as he was last time,
No.
by design, and he's going to be real tough in this spot. But I think he can get beat.
Yeah, because if she does get too far, but I mean, and there's a ton of horses that ran well and that can improve, but she fits, right? She's
Definitely
like in the mix. She's a total player. I'm not taking huge stands against her or anything. I'm absolutely with you on Mayday Ready. 100% in the mix.
And then the other one is the 11, Miss Lonell.
Yeah.
I like that race, and I think this horse can stretch out. Wayne Catalado does these kind of moves a lot, and he kind of did it a couple of times at Kentucky Downs. And I think this one extra, this horse is to me is live, and at 15-1, which I think will probably get a lot of that 15-1. You just got to watch out for that horse.
She
Let's just say
was
that.
so handy. When you watch her race, she was about 5 lengths off early on, and she's kind of looking around for a seam. She moved inside, then she shifted outside, just really easily. She was responding to everything that was asked of her, and that's major in a big field like this for a horse that you can just sort of press the button on and can go. She was visually impressive. I mean, that's what this race, it's hard because you're obviously going to play the pick 5 and some of your exotics before, but this is definitely a race that you want to save a few bucks for, to play a horse to win and probably a try or something like that, because there's going to be a couple of these horses that just float up that are forgotten about. It's just inevitable. Right. Not everybody can get bet. And honestly, you talked about Mayday Ready. This entire section of horses to the outside here, from like Mayday Ready, Totally Justified, that turf debut was very good. Just sat really close. It was a nice effort, put himself in a really good spot, and then held really well. I mentioned Italian Soiree, who I like. You just talked about Miss Linnell, who was visually very impressive. Coretto, debut winner, really nice. And this horse is a half to Spooky Channel, who's a multiple graded stakes winner. That's 5 horses right there that I just mentioned.
Channel,
didn't even mention the 6. I mean,
right.
Just the whole outside grouping right here. A horse like the 5, we don't even know how good the horse like this could be.
Right.
Micaiah,
you got to think this is definitely going to be a chaotic race. Even if the 6 wins, it's still going to be chaos because, like you said, you can't cover everybody, and I'm sure some of the horses that are going to run well will be overlooked.
Yep.
And you can cash a nice bet in a vertical or horizontal here to push you through to the next, the next race. But man, this is a tough race, and you just got to let it fly here.
Really, really challenging race. No knocks on. Look at the 2 horses down on the inside. They haven't done anything wrong either. Isla Capri was one of those visually impressive winners at 6.5. Good luck in the Jessamine. I started with Italian Soiree. Barry and I both agree that Destino d'Oro, the 6, is one that you want in the mix and probably the horse to beat. And we both really like the 8 Mayday Ready as well. Barry's other mention was Miss Linnell. So there's 4 that we kind of feel strongly about, and there's 7 or 8 more that you can feel very strongly about in the challenging Grade 2 Jessamine, race number 8 on Friday at Keeneland. Let's get to the Grade 1 Alcibiades, and you'll have some real quality in here. Just toward the outside, you have the 1-2 finishers from the Grade 1 Spinaway, where Immersive defeated Quiet Side. Right inside of them, Quick Kick is really close to them as far as speed figures are concerned, coming off of that 79 Beyer speed figure when she won and she broke her maiden at Saratoga. And in her debut, she lost to a nice horse named Lacara, who came back and won the Pocahontas. You also have the 2 Sherbini, who's just a deeper closer, so has been late on the scene behind Immersive and the Queen's MG, but she certainly has quality. I thought Liam in the Dust was a horse who actually fits pretty well in here too. Runner up in the Pocahontas last time out. Flavian Pratt jumps aboard for Brissett. And the Queen's MG is funny to mention because you almost never see a horse like this. She has 3 wins. 2 of them came and she paid over $90. She was a 45-1 winner and a 44-1 winner. It's so rare to see horses be that
Rodney
huge of a price,
Dangerfield.
right? Just no respect. She had a bad start in the Astoria. She got completely dismissed in the Schuylerville, came back, won at 44-1, then came back in the Adirondack and won that day, much shorter price at 5-2. I just worry she's a little bit more of a sprinter. And I don't know if she really wants to go that far. And she may have been able to beat up on some groups where they weren't quite as good and she was kind of a little ahead of schedule. But heck,
I agree.
She's got a resume that at least worth mentioning, you know,
Yeah.
and she deserves some respect just because she's got 3 victories, which nobody else in this field can say. So Barry, the grade 1 Alcibiades 2-year-old fillies who are trying to get to the Breeders' Cup juvenile fillies and maybe a horse or 2 that we'll see in the Kentucky Oaks next year. Who are some of the fillies on your radar?
Honestly, I kind of narrowed this down to the 4 outside horses, the 5, 6, 7, 8. Queen's MG is the elim out of those 4. I didn't really see too many surprises.
Yeah.
I thought Quick Kick should probably sit a nice trip. But, you know, the one that really scares me, though, is Liam in the Dust.
And see what I mean? I did almost exactly like you. I went 3, 6, 7, 8. You were kind of 5, 6, 7, 8. And I was just thinking that Liam in the Dust might have moved a little early in the Pocahontas and watching the race. She really ran pretty well that day. I like that she showed she can sit off a little bit. And I think she just moved to the lead early and she kind of started waiting around. And when Lucara loomed up, she did sort of dig in and try to not let her just blow right by. So I like that. And I think it's sort of a nice stepping and stone in progression. And one of the real keys is not as if Luis Saez is a bad rider. In fact, he's very good with speed horses.
Just a different rider. He gives a different ride.
Yeah. And I love Pratt with horses like this that might be able to sit just off, have a little bit of speed. He always seems to make the right move in those situations. So I'll probably throw her in situations here because I think you'll get a nice price on her. I think at least 6 or 8-1 because there will be money on the 3 outside horses. There should be. They deserve to take money. All of them are super logical. Queen's MG should take a little bit of money too. But
so what do you do with the 4? Rich City Girl. I mean,
I know because
that might be the speed of the speed here, and that's that's what makes this race a little interesting. I tended to dismiss Rich City Girl because of those races that she was in. They weren't that strong, and she got beat in that one at Ellis. Not by much, but it was a great effort, and I can see a horse like that kind of slipping away here and maybe just drawing off. Like that's what I was thinking with the 3. But now that you kind of shed light on Pratt being on that horse, it might change a little of the way the race shape will take, and the 4 could actually be out there winging it.
The one's kind of an interesting just will they have to go from the inside and make it a little bit quicker, make sure a horse like the 4 Rich City Girl can't sneak away because the inside draw. This horse kind of freaked at Colonial and got a really low speed figure in the debut at Ellis, but then did step up and earn a nice one last time out.
Yeah.
So maybe they can at least just be a horse that makes the pace honest because of the inside draw stretching out from some sprint races where she's been used to going a little bit faster. It's a good race though.
It's a fun race. I those 3 outside horses are really evenly matched.
They are.
So it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be a rider's race where, positioning is going to be everything and it's probably going to be seen very early in this race. So I'm interested to see what happens here for sure.
Love seeing Dylan Davis getting to keep some of these big mounts too.
That's really cool.
Wins big races with these horses at Saratoga, breaks their maiden, and gets to come out here and ride in a grade 1. That's awesome. He's 4-1 in a grade 1 here, and he's the 3rd choice. Off of and that's the type of thing that you like to see, and that's how your career can change. Can he get a win in a big race like this, then go on to the Breeders' Cup, get Breeders' Cup wins, and then you just start establishing yourself as more of a mainstay as he's coming off a fantastic Saratoga. And I'm watching back a lot of these races too because the
He made
horses are
every
coming
right
back.
move on every horse
Man, so
during
many
that meet.
horses.
It
It
was
was him
crazy.
too. He was the difference maker. He made 2 or 3 right moves. He would put a horse from the back up to the middle of the pack. And just like right there, that ended up being the winning move. Instead of having a horse that was 9th of 9, he would kind of be on the inside and he moved that horse up to like 5th. Just like 2 lengths of positioning. And then there'd be an opening and he'd be able to angle around and hit the opening. And I've been so impressed watching these races back more and more with Dylan
It's
Davis.
funny with him. I remember him a while ago, and I want to say it was about 2013, 14, 15-ish, where he was actually at Churchill one meet. And I think it was the fall meet, and he was hitting at like 40%, and it was like nobody noticed. And I was like, this guy has great hands. He can
Yep.
ride, puts horses in position. Why is he not getting any mounts? And he kind of not struggled. It's just he was just trying to get momentum, and he finally got it this year at Saratoga, and it's great to see him in the spotlight and getting these mounts because I think he deserved it. I mean, honestly, he had to work his butt off to get here
Yep.
to get these mounts, and it's good to see that happen.
All of the horses too were prices. He wasn't
Hmm.
on a whole
He
bunch
wasn't
of
on
favorites
favorites.
and a
No.
bunch of favorite speed horses that are just going to go right down. He had to give really smart, heady rides on a lot of these horses, middle of the pack, coming from the back. And let's see if he can give another one on Quick Kick and win the Grade 1 Alcibiades. I kind of stacked Quick Kick above just the 3 of them just based on price. I would give him or her a little bit of advantage, but I do agree with you. I don't really have a negative on the 3 outside horses. I think they're all pretty solid. If any one of them just got the better trip, it wouldn't shock me at all. Especially with Quiet Side and Immersive. So yeah, they'll be there for me. I'll try to get Liam in the dust in the mix there. Let's finish it up, Barry, with race number 10. So this is the closeout leg of the pick 5. 5.5 furlongs on the turf course. And kind of going through the field, you had the 2 Etrurian, who's won 3 in a row, just stepped foot on the grass last time out, really, really quick. And she seems like she's kind of one-dimensional. Right next door, Moonlit Lady, very, very fast also. So she's got to go. Tambo can sit a little bit, but she wants to be forwardly placed, and she's pretty quick. Baraye wants to go, also very quick, going to be forwardly placed in here. So, you go through the field. The 9 wants to be close up, can sit a little bit. And towards the outside, I think with the outside draw, Extreme Diva will probably have to be forwardly placed so not to get hooked too wide. I'd imagine it'll be pretty honest in here, Barry.
Yeah, I think so too. But funny enough, I kind of like Etrurian quite a
So
bit in this spot.
just don't know how good this horse is. You just don't know. And we don't really know that she can't sit off or she can't just be faster than everyone. She's kind of been freaky good in her 3 races. I have her as a horse that it's kind of hard to leave out of a pick 4 or pick 5 situation closing because she's just a real wild
Dangerous.
card.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's very dangerous. I mean, the horse that beat her, our Harper Rose, is super fast
Yep.
herself. Um, I just, I just think this is the speed of the speed. I know you see a horse like Moonlit Lady, and they have sort of similar looking running lines, but it just seems like that one race is faster than all 4 of Moonlit Ladies, especially early on. Uh, if Etrurian gets the jump and gets the lead, I think she's going to be ultra tough. Um, I don't like any horse in this race that's under 10-1. Funny enough, Share the Blessing is another one. I think ran a real bang up race in Colonial
Yeah.
and kind of needed that race. Sets them up really well for this race. Uh, the races in the back there, I really like the way that they tried this horse long, laid him off, later off, came back, and now sits at this spot because it seems like this was the goal all along,
Yep.
this race. or at least a race at Keeneland, basically is what I'm saying. Um, I
She'll
think
come
that one is
rolling.
poised
Yeah.
for a good run. And then the 9, Independence Avenue, same sort of deal. Has been really keeping really good company. Uh, lost to Ozara, Life's an Audible, Waskasoo, and the Ginger Brew, and that was really the horse's only bad race.
And I think a mile is
It's too
farther than
long.
she wants.
Right.
She won at a mile when she was just on the lead in a small field that she's way better than at Tampa, field of 4. So, but she doesn't want to go that far. And everything about her makes sense. I have her, and to me, I had the 9 and the 8 as kind of my top tier of horses because I really like the trips they're going to get.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
9
Absolutely.
sits close. And then after the Ginger Brew comes back, that's a good race behind Pipsy and Carry You. And that was the first start in 5 months, hadn't run between January and May. And then after that race, really good second behind a horse named Queen Ollie. And what's nice, that was actually a 4-year-old Queen Ollie who then came back and won again. She's won 2 in a row, almost 3 in a row. She won an optional claimer at Gulfstream Park last time out. So she actually faced older last time and is now back in with 3-year-olds. A little bit of a class relief there after having faced a next out winning 4-year-old horse. I think she makes a lot of sense in here. I like the pattern and everything for Independence Avenue. And then if they go quick, a horse who I just don't think has gotten the trips in some of the races has been Nikki Nine Doors.
Yeah.
She actually went wire to wire, gate to wire here in April, but that was kind of just caught a flyer and went. She's been more of an off the pace horse, in particular in her last couple, and when chasing Moonlit Lady. So I'm going to throw her in the mix too because I think she'll just get a little better trip in here. We know she likes this course, and it's not like has to be way out of it either. So she could sit close enough and have a little bit of finish in this race, in race number 10.
Yeah, this is a good one too. I mean, this is a
solid
tough sequence.
It is. It's
and
really
you're
good.
going to get prices. I would imagine this is not going to chalk out by
No.
any means. Even if let's say the 6 wins the grass race there, the 8th, the Jessamine, it's still going to pay. I mean,
Yeah,
this is going to be a pretty good sequence.
really strong pick 5 for opening day at Keeneland. Don't forget, Keeneland packages available. You can save huge on the entire meat package, and that'll lead us right into the Breeders' Cup. Barry, buddy, you are pulling double duty this week. You're going to be back with me. We're recording this one on Wednesday evening. We'll be back on Thursday evening to talk about the Saturday pick 5. Same races, 6 through 10. It's an all stakes pick 5, all graded stakes pick 5 on Saturday at Keeneland. So get a little more of your handicapping done, some homework done tonight, my friend. Anything else you want to mention before we get out of here?
Nope.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
I'm just trying to get this money because this is a good sequence. I'm trying to hit both of these.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Good luck to everyone on Friday. If you need help handicapping the races this weekend, I have a bunch of videos on the YouTube channel. So if you're watching this right now on our YouTube channel, if you can subscribe, throw a like up. It'll really help us out. Leave a comment. Let us know if you like some of the horses that we talked about. If you have a question about anything, I will get the comments. I'll always respond. If maybe we didn't get enough into a horse that you wanted to know more about, let me know. I'll share any other thoughts that we have. And Friday, Keeneland. There'll be Friday, Santa Anita best bets. There'll be Saturday, Keeneland with Barry. There'll be Saturday, Aqueduct, Belmont at Aqueduct with Matt DeSantis. We talked about the 4 graded stakes races. There'll be Saturday, Santa Anita with Angela Herman. So all of that coming up. I'm even going to go over the Woodbine races myself. You will have all of the big races covered this weekend on separate videos. They'll all be together on That's What G Said podcast. Barry, I'll talk to you in about 23 hours and we'll do it all over again, my friend.
Yes, I can't wait, man. This is an exciting weekend. Let's do this.
Good time of the year to be a racing fan and a sports fan. Good luck to everyone playing the races on Friday over at Keeneland.